Have you ever come home emotionally and physically exhausted just by spending time with somebody? How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you done something not because you wanted to, but because you didn't want to disappoint somebody else, even if it came at your own expense? Or how many times have you stayed late at work, caught up on emails, finished somebody else's to-do list just to show that you're dependable? If any of that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Today, we are going to be talking about one of the most important life skills that almost nobody talks about: boundaries. Not because they make life easier, but because they make life so much healthier. Welcome back to my channel. For all of you who are new here, I'm Elizabeth Rory, a spiritual coach and a manifestation mentor. I wish more people understood this concept of setting boundaries. People have very mixed ideas of what it actually is. People think it's so rude to set boundaries. That's false. What boundaries truly are is not putting up walls, blocking everybody out. It's creating a door with a lock. You decide who comes in, you decide who stays, and you decide what no longer belongs in your life. It's not about rejecting people, actually, at all. It's about protecting your peace. You know, somewhere down the line, we were taught that good people say yes to everything. You're always helping, you're always available, and you're consistently putting somebody else's needs in front of yours. We were often and consistently still are being praised for selflessness. But nobody has taught you or warned you that if you're consistently putting somebody else's needs in front of yours, you're neglecting yourself. Setting boundaries is protecting your peace, knowing self-worth, and what you need in your life. Many people confuse kindness for self-sacrifice. You do not have to sacrifice your happiness, your peace, your energy space for anybody else, no matter who that person may be. There's this wild, crazy concept that people believe that kindness equals self-sacrifice. Well, that is completely false. Kindness stems from love, authenticity. Self-sacrifice stems from fear, and only fear. Fear of disappointment, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of not being good enough, fear that people will stop loving us. It's all from fear, which then creates people pleasers. So I experienced this about 15 years ago when I first entered the music industry. I was so green and so eager to learn that appeasing my boss was so important to me. I consistently said yes to everything. I made sure I was at his beck and call at all times. He would call me over 20 times a day, every single day, hours of the day. It didn't matter if it was 1 a.m., 7 a.m., 5 p.m. It didn't matter. He expected me to answer every single time, and I did. He would call me and have zero respect for my time. I'd be on the phone with him. He'd be having an in-person conversation for over 20 minutes. Didn't respect me at all whatsoever. But I consistently showed up and pleased him no matter what. It became very taxing and stressful on me. But not once did I think, I'm allowing this to happen. Not at all. I thought to myself, this is what happens in the entertainment industry. You work a lot of hours. You're new. You're proving yourself. And I allowed this for 11 years. 11 years. I let somebody disrespect me and have zero respect for my time and space or energy for 11 straight years. Why? Because I was so afraid that I was going to lose my job or lose respect from my boss. Not once did set boundaries cross my mind. Not once in 11 years. It became so emotionally and physically taxing on me that I started to see physical changes. I lost so much weight in a short period of time. I lost friends. I was consistently anxious, and I always felt on eggshells around my boss. I felt like I had to be on par. I felt like I had to agree with him on everything. I lost who I was because I was pleasing somebody else. And it took a major toll on who I was at that time. So after 11 years, I had to establish who I am all over again, and then learned how important boundaries are, how to set boundaries, and how to adhere to them. So what do boundaries actually do? Boundaries create clarity, and it also teaches people how to treat you. Once I set boundaries for myself and strongly adhered to them, the amount of respect I received was tremendous. It was almost like immediately I commanded respect. Boundaries will communicate what you will and will not accept, what you will and will not tolerate, what you're available for, and what you need in order to feel respected, valued, and emotionally safe. Healthy boundaries protects your peace, your space, your energy, your self-confidence, your self-worth, your physical well-being, your mental well-being. It is pure protection for yourself. Without boundaries, over time, other people's expectations will begin to control your life. You'll start to say yes to things you want to say no to. You'll apologize for needing rest. You'll over-apologize for things you don't need to apologize for. You'll overextend yourself. You'll carry emotional burdens that are not yours to carry. You will end up pouring in everybody else's cup and neglecting your own. And if you're consistently pouring into everybody else's cup and leaving yours dry, eventually there will be nothing else to give. Take it from me. You will have absolutely nothing else to give. Here's a perspective that I love and has become very helpful when teaching people the importance of setting boundaries. So imagine your life is a beautiful garden. It holds your healing, your peace, your time, your energy, your relationships, your mental well-being, your physical well-being. And now imagine that that garden does not have a fence. Anyone could walk in. Anyone can trample your flowers. Anyone can pull your weeds. Anyone could take what they want, leave a mess, and leave when they want. Eventually, the garden will begin to die. Not because it wasn't beautiful, but because it was not protected. Now, I want you to envision your beautiful garden with a healthy fence around it. Now, this healthy fence was built not because your garden hates people, but because there's something very sacred growing inside. This is exactly what boundaries do. They protect what is sacred. Boundaries protect the life you're trying to create for yourself. What setting boundaries will do is it will reveal the health of your current relationships. Meaning, once you set those boundaries, you're going to quickly recognize who respects your time, space, and energy, and those who do not. Healthy people appreciate clarity. Healthy people will respect your time, your space, and your energy. Healthy people do not expect unlimited access to your energy. And healthy people understand that saying no isn't a rejection, it's honesty. In my opinion and personal experience, boundaries actually strengthen relationships because they eliminate confusion, assumptions, resentment, or any type of silent expectations. They create a healthier environment for stronger communication. So this just happened to me a few days ago. I do not tolerate passive aggressiveness. I'm very blunt, I'm kind, but I am a blunt person. I need that in return. So when somebody is upset with me or if I did something wrong, I'm not a mind reader. I need to be confronted, and so I could take responsibility for my actions. Being passive aggressive does not work with me at all. And for those who know me, they know it doesn't fly. So I allowed my friend to be quite passive aggressive for a few days before I sent her a text message asking, "Girl, what is going on with you? You know how this passive aggressive shit doesn't work with me. I need you to be blunt and upfront with me about what I did to upset you so I can make it better, so I can take responsibility." Within minutes, she called me, confronted me. It was miscommunication, and we went back to our friendship. But not only that, it is stronger now because she respected my needs and my boundaries, and I do the same for her. So it creates healthier communication. It builds trust. It allows people to love others without losing themselves. My boundaries are very strong, and people know they cannot cross them. If they cross them, I do not tolerate nor allow those people in my energy space. I'm not quick to cut people off, but I have strong boundaries that will not be disrespected. They will not be. If you want to be in my life, you will not disrespect my boundaries. You will not cross them. And so when you start to set boundaries for yourself, you're going to recognize who has respect for you and who does not. Those people who have respect for you are healthy individuals. You want to keep them in your life. The other ones, please allow them to leave. This one is touchy for a lot of people because they feel as if they set boundaries in a romantic relationship, their partner's not going to love them as much. A healthy relationship should never require you to abandon yourself. A healthy relationship should never require you to abandon yourself. Please, 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 please write that down, text it to yourself, whatever it is. Please remember that. A healthy relationship should never require you to abandon yourself. Love isn't about giving up your own identity. It's about sharing your life while honoring each other's individuality. It's important to recognize that in a healthy relationship, if you set boundaries and adhere to them, a healthy partner will never make you feel guilty for needing space. They won't ever punish you for being out with your friends or taking some time alone, and they most certainly will never expect you to consistently prove your love by sacrificing your own needs. Love says, I respect you. Control says, I need access to you whenever I want. The same is true with friendships and family. So people have a really hard time with the family one. And I'm going to hopefully tell you a story that makes it a little bit easier for you if you're going through a space where your family is consistently overstepping your invisible boundaries. So family does not automatically get access, unlimited access to you and your emotional energy simply because they are family. I've had to set very strong boundaries with my family. Make a long story short, growing up, my older sister was very aggressive to me. We didn't have that like typical sister bond. She always gave me negative energy. She opened my presents as a kid. She never took me as a little sister. I felt like she always really hated me. The older we got, the more physically and mentally abusive. She hated me so much that she would physically hit me or slap me or do something out of control that would hurt me, and she did it on purpose. And being the younger sister and a people pleaser at the time, I was consistently forgiving her for these destructive behavior. Yes, she had a drinking problem, but that is no excuse to put your hands on somebody their whole life. Eventually, over time, I had enough. It was roughly around when I was in San Diego when she came to visit me and she got intoxicated. Make a long story short, she slapped me. And I'm a very calm person. And often when it gets crazy around me, I become even more calm. I become even more quiet. So when that happened, I did not do anything to retaliate. I've never done anything to retaliate. I simply removed myself from the situation. I physically removed myself. So that's what I did. And then months went by and it was me who reached out to her. We made amends and I allowed her back in. And unfortunately, a year later, she did exactly the same thing. She took her aggression out on me, threw a drink in my face in public, and was escorted out of the bar and made a complete ass of herself. For me, that was it. I was done. I set those boundaries. I will not tolerate this behavior. I will not be treated like a rag doll, especially from my sister. So I made the decision to completely cut her out of my life. People might think that is cold, but I did not. I have not spoken to my sister in over 6 years, and it was truly the best decision for me. She brought so much negative energy and pain into my life, and I allowed it for so long. Never again. Family does not automatically receive your respect or access to you just because they are your family. So let's cover the importance of setting boundaries in the workplace. I've come to discover that a lot of people tend to struggle in this area. At work, you want to come off dedicated, hardworking, reliable. So you start to do things such as pick up slack, stay late, make phone calls and emails after hours. You tend to complete work that is not yours. At first, this seems so dependable, but over time, something starts to change. Your generosity becomes expected. Instead of people asking if you're available, they will immediately assume that you are. This is why setting boundaries in the workspace is just as important as it is in your home life. Setting boundaries is not laziness, it's sustainability. It says, I'd be happy to help, but I need to prioritize my current responsibilities first. Or, I'm unavailable after business hours, but I'll respond tomorrow morning. So what do you notice about those two responses? They are both respectful, professional, and healthy. Boundaries are not rude. They are clear communication. Here's another truth. Not everybody is going to like that you set boundaries, especially those people who benefit from you not having any. Once you set those boundaries, you may hear things like, you've changed, you're selfish, you're being rude, you used to help me all the time. What happened? Personally, I started hearing things like, you're selfish, you're boring, you're a narcissist, you used to help me all the time. What did I do wrong? Why are you mad at me? It was all about them and never about what I needed for myself. So if you start to hear these things from other people, what's really happening is they are saying, I am no longer happy that I don't have unlimited access to your time and energy and your willingness to put me before yourself. Growth often makes people feel uncomfortable, especially those who are benefiting from your self-sacrifice. And that's okay, because boundaries are not created to make other people feel comfortable. They're created to keep you feeling safe and healthy. Here's one of the most important lessons I've ever learned. Setting boundaries is not about controlling other people. It is about taking responsibility for yourself. You cannot control somebody else's behavior. You cannot control somebody else's responses. You cannot control if somebody respects you or not. And you cannot control whether somebody agrees with the choices you make. But what you can control is what you allow, what you participate in, how you respond, and how you treat other people. That's where the power of yours has always been. Here's something else worth remembering. Every single time you say yes to something that drains your energy, you are also saying no to something that may nourish your soul. Every unnecessary obligation costs you time you will never get back. Your time is infinite. Your energy is so precious. Your peace is incredibly valuable, and it is so important for you to protect them accordingly. Because every time you honor your boundaries, you're sending yourself a powerful message. My needs are very important, and they matter. My peace matters. My health matters. I matter. The beautiful thing is, healthy boundaries do not push people away. They attract them. The people who genuinely love, respect, value, and honor you won't disappear because you started to respect yourself. In fact, the healthiest relationships often begin the moment you stop abandoning yourself to please others. Today, I want to leave you with one question. Where in your life are you betraying your own peace because you don't want to disappoint somebody else? I want you to sit with that question because the answer may reveal exactly where your next boundary belongs. I want you to also remember this. Boundaries are not rejection. They are a form of self-respect and self-love. love. Boundaries are a declaration that your time, energy, space, and well-being are valuable. And when you begin to value your own boundaries, you then give permission to others to set and adhere to their own boundaries. That's how healthier relationships are formed. That's how burnout begins to heal. And that's when self-confidence begins to grow. And that's when you create a life that you no longer have to survive by sacrificing yourself, your happiness, your peace, your well-being for anybody else. You thrive by honoring yourself. If this message resonated with you today, I ask you to please share this with somebody who needs to hear it. There are so many people who need to understand the importance of setting boundaries. Until next time, please remember, protecting your peace is not selfish. It's truly one of the most loving things you could do for yourself and for those who truly value having you in their lives. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all endlessly. All the love.